So, welcome back to this afternoon's program. My co-commentator Jill Rickard will announce the ground jury.
Sitting at E, Susan Hoovenars from Australia. At H, Sue Hobson from New Zealand. At C, Maria Colliander from Finland. At M, Maria Swennesson from Australia. And at B, Shell Moe from Norway.
And our first competitor circling the arena is Madison Valander on Ronin R, and Ronin R is a black gelding by Regard Amour and owned by Madison, bred by Heath and Rosie Ryan.
They wanted them out there. Judges asked them to be there.
So we welcome you back to the live stream. This is the last competition for the afternoon here at Dressage by the Sea. This event is sponsored by KJK Equestrian. And you're watching the intermediate 1 under 25 class.
And the storm is
Picking
up a bit outside. There's suddenly some wind.
At Ronin.
This is, we're doing the intermediate 2.
Oh, sorry.
So we're going to see, this is their introductory level test before tomorrow, when these riders at under 25s will do a Grand Prix test. This is got the zigzag of half passes 5 metres either side of the arena. And then we'll see the transition to trot, to passage just after R. And we certainly saw its passage. Now piaffe, again 8 to 10 steps, and it's allowed to travel forward about a metre. Passage into piaffe here at A. And again, we'd love to say we need a bit more activity and lift in the, or enthusiasm even in the piaffe, but certainly recognisable as piaffe and equally passage. So she's going along between 6 and 7 for most of these movements.
And it's another very long-legged, impressive horse.
So these classes for the under 25 kind of...
He just had a little...
that was very rude, was it not?
He had a little kick at her leg, I'm pretty sure.
Oh dear, so that's really tricky, because really there was no extended canter and it was on the wrong leg after the change, and therefore there was no flying change. So quite a messy little piece of work just there. Anyway, I was saying that these tests, or grouping of people of young riders under 25 was to give them the opportunity to ride it towards Grand Prix and Grand Prix, perhaps without having the senior riders in the same class. But they can, of course, ride in both classes with different horses, which we'll see later on.
And also probably to, give them experience. Maybe they're not quite ready to go in an open class.
Well, I think the thing is with judging is you've got to judge what's presented in front of you. You can't actually say, well, because she's under 25, I'm going to be more lenient on, how the canter pirouette goes round. It may make you more sympathetic, perhaps less strict, it's possible. But still, 2 times changes, they need to be performed. And the better they're performed, the better the mark. And changes for this horse are obviously a highlight. Does them easily. She's trending on just under 64%. Madison was also in the Young Riders class earlier today with another horse, which I think she might have won. So potentially having a very nice day. Happy patting. Our next competitor in the CDI Under 25 Intermediate 2 test is Lucy Cochrane, riding Jumanji. Jumanji is a 15-year-old bay Appaloosa warm blood gelding by Gymnastic Star out of Saffron, owned by Lucy and Anne Cochrane, bred by Ros Beck and ridden today by Lucy Cochrane.
So Gymnastic Star, another quite successful breeding stallion here that was brought into Australia.
She's keeping good energy in these half passes. And of course we mentioned, of course, in its colouring that it was Appaloosa. You can see the lovely spotty pattern over its bottom. Helpfully, somebody outside told me it may have been out of a Nabstrupper mare. I don't know if that's true. However, I love that patterning. I think it's terrific. And it's an elegant type of horse. It's got a little bit, it's got the idea in Piaffe, but it gets too open and against her hand. And in the passage, it's not super springy yet.
Not established.
Yeah. And if you were watching yesterday, you saw the same sorts of issues in the Inter 2 with the senior riders. So this is because
not alone.
Not alone by any means. So half pass left, straight up the centre line to the next marker, into the canter pirouette. And really quite well done, the canter pirouette. Another extended canter. Again, starting from V. K. Starting from K. Half past right. No, I think I'm right. It should have been from V. But anyway, they might be nice to her. But of course, it makes a big difference if you start from K versus if you start from V.
They were fairly nice to her.
They were.
The weather outside looks like it's just holding off from being a storm. Oh, it's just circling us. Rumbling in the background. A lot of airtime in those one-time changes.
Yeah, that was very nice. And
She gave him a pat.
I love that. And again in the extended trot.
And she rode that very boldly.
Yeah.
And being rewarded with an 8, a 7.5, some 7s. Good boy.
And a nice halt finish. So probably putting her into second place at this point. Not far away from Madison.
Ja, vi kan. Vi kan ta det. Det är om där.
So results for Lucy Cochrane and Jumanji of 63.853%, placing her in second, behind Madison Valenda, who's on 64.4. Circling now is Lexi Stanfield, riding BC Romanov. Romanov is a 14-year-old bay Australian warm blood gelding. He's by Royal Hit out of BC Willow, owned and ridden by Lexi Stansfield from in the Lower Hunter area of New South Wales. Oh, I felt that canter coming down the centre line was just needed more energy. You've got to make an entrance. Hind legs more under in the extended trot. Okay, the sidewards is a little bit underridden. She's taking, and she really isn't getting the 5 metres to either side. Passage shows some nice spring. More energy needed in this piaffe. So the transition blurred. Steps in that piaffe. It's just feel like the horse is a little behind her. He's just got she's got the handbrake on. He's quite happy to stretch down and cover the ground in the walk, but even that needed more purpose. Had a little bit of a wander in the walk. He might be feeling a bit hot.
And he maybe did a bit of piaffe there that he shouldn't have.
Yeah, now he's got stuck.
Which is expensive for the walk.
Yeah, of course.
Coefficient. And
so
quite
now he's
nice,
showing his
quite
piaffe.
nice,
yeah. And she's not sure how to get out of that. And of course that's not the way to get out of it. Because anyway, she's off now. Into canter.
Put that behind you. On to the next thing.
Yeah.
Change the focus. Get him on the aids. Did she go from the...
She snuck across before P, but closer to P. Again, we're
looking for that to be from V and P, aren't we?
We are. Okay, perhaps she can regroup here in the extended. Get him to travel more forward.
Little disagreement at the end there. He just looks to me like he's dwelling.
So come up to V. And again, you've got to believe that that was a B, but so the sidewards isn't there. So, okay, do what you have to do to continue the test.
Maybe that's a trend.
Young riders have been thinking that they can
Trick the judges.
But I don't think so. Okay, he's got his flow going now. So then coming up we'll have the 11 ones.
I just don't think today was his day.
Yeah, she can do a little regrouping in her thought process, perhaps for tomorrow's Grand Prix. Of course, one of the differences about now that when it's an international competition is there's no whip to be carried, and
Sometimes makes a difference.
sometimes, you know, if it's some horses, it's just enough to carry it, and they go, "Yep, I believe you. I'm staying forward," and that might be a possibility. I'm not sure. I don't know the combination that well to comment, but for sure, not being able to go forward comfortably makes it very hard to ride one of these tests well.
We have our next horse into the arena. Dana Cruz riding Tattinger, VDS. Tattinger is by Regard Moi and owned by Dana Cruz and ridden by Dana Cruz from Baxter in Victoria. So another horse by Regard Moi, which proves that he is a very successful sire.
And they're all, well, most of them.
How to drive magic mares.
I don't think we've had a short one, so they're all tall, long-legged creatures.
Elegant.
Elegant horses, often black. Good types for the job. Oh, we've got a wind gust coming through. And the fountain is going wild. The Taittinger is on the job.
Could do with the Taittinger now.
Okay, not quite
9 o'clock
equal
yet.
behind in that extended trot. So we're always looking for regularity throughout. Better placement and crossing in these half passes. This is good. You can see it. Needs a bit more bend in both directions. Suppleness is probably what I want to say in those.
That flexibility of the rib cage.
Yeah, exactly. And into passage. Hind legs more under. Want more activity but he travelled, but okay. Again, passage. Got to get the back legs. One of the hardest things is getting back legs in passage because it's easy to sort of hollow out if you can. Horses aren't obliged to help us and put them under. And more diagonal in the piaffe. Quite good reach there in the with the forehand in the extended walk. Collected walk starts at S. Come round to C.
Quite a lot of collected walk, isn't it?
Yeah, but they do make it, well, relatively speaking, it's slightly more helpful because of the corner. But of course the horses are getting ready for the next bit, so, but that's for every collected walk, there's always going to be some major thing afterwards. Needs a little bit more regularity in this canter. It's better now. Okay, and you can see both the hind legs jumping together in the canter, and then there was a change behind, and then it regrouped, but in the end, doesn't matter. It wasn't a successful pirouette. Closer to V. Good. As I said, it's got long legs. It shows good reach in the half pass. Again, both legs jumping on the ground at the same time. Better than the first one for sure. Whereas those are worthy of a 7 at the very least. So sitting just under 62%. Keep going. This is looking okay. Coming up in the passage. Try to get a good square halt. And yes, she did from where I'm sitting. And that should bump her up to 62. And possibly third position. And we've got another 4 riders in this class. Competitor in the CDI Under 25 Intermediate 2 is Tanisha Ryan riding Prequel. Prequel is a New Zealand warm blood by Prestige, owned by Tanisha, and Tanisha comes from Darks Forest in New South Wales.
And she's got 12 seconds to enter the gate, but the gate hasn't been opened, so that makes it a little difficult to get in.
Yes, and
a little bit of eventing.
Okay, now they've hit the clock again. I did notice the clock stopped. That was very kind of them.
I think all of us here have been going since 8 o'clock this morning, so...
Everybody can be forgiven for not being quite as on the job.
Prestige, another stallion that was brought to Australia, the sire of this horse, very successful in Europe and in Australia. A lot of lovely progeny by him.
Yeah, it's interesting that it's called a New Zealand warm blood.
Well, he did go to New Zealand first before he came here.
Oh, did he? Right.
And that's where Sheridan bought him from.
Oh, okay. Yes, it's bred by Kerry Sanders, but of course not helpfully doesn't tell me where Kerry is. But that might well be the answer.
But he went originally from Edward Gale's stable to New Zealand, and then from New Zealand he came to Australia and then was very, very successful at Grand Prix. I think he won an Australian Grand Prix title.
With Sheridan on board, Sheridan Ashwood. Yes, I remember that.
Stunning horse.
He was. And still is. I'm still alive. Good. So we're seeing Piaffe and Passage. And of course Prestige, I remember, did a really good job in Passage and Piaffe.
Now leaving a legacy of his children. Or he's probably still breeding, I presume.
Good. So this is more what we want to see. Confident in and out, keeping the rhythm.
It was interesting. I liked how you explained the passage with the front legs hanging rather than tucking.
Yeah, well, they're supposed to hang.
Yeah,
and you do-
it's a good example. It's a good
Yeah.
visualization of how they should look.
Yeah, and if ever you've picked up a front leg, which I do quite often, I mean, everybody picks up their horse's feet, but
You do it in a different way.
I do it in a different way, and there's a lot of tension. A lot of horses want to snatch their legs down and away from you. And the one that can hang, well, you know, they're freer and more able. So, yeah.
Interesting.
It's just one of those things. Good. He's got a nice way of cantering across the ground.
And quite loose, isn't he?
Oh, dear. What was she supposed to do? I've forgotten. Oh, the flying change in the middle.
Mm.
Oh, she didn't do that. Oh, yes. Oh, what a shame. She was on 67 at that point, so effectively now is on 65. Remembering 2% off for error, of course. Oh, there she goes. Oh, yes.
Give yourself that. Oh, okay. I would have
Okay.
done that, planned that a little better. Hard to
Yeah.
get going from walking.
Right, we've got some heads passing by in front of us. Right, we're off again. Okay, much more.
And look at that from the marker.
Much more accurate.
I'm making us happy here in the box, being our having our little pet hate.
Come on, keep going.
Marker to
keep
marker.
going, keep going.
Well done.
Yeah. I'd like to see them go, yes, reward that.
Yeah, because it's
It's
she's
harder.
done what
She did the
what it
harder
said
thing.
yeah, correct.
And they've been generous on the ones that have cheated. For want
Cheated.
of a better word.
I love it. Cheated. Cheating. Let's see if she
Yeah,
does it on
now
this side.
She comes up to V.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's reasonable.
You can see the
Hind
tracks
quarters
in
a
the
little bit.
sand that not many people have come up to V. But that's just, I don't know. And I think that's where it starts, being accurate. That's the first part of the test, riding marker to marker.
Yeah, and really, if the judges are kind on those little matters, doesn't do anyone any favours to say it's okay to ride early and inaccurately.
Then the person that does it absolutely correctly should be extra rewarded.
Exactly. Come on, be straighter, keep going.
More energy.
She's got to claw back her marks that she wasted by making a mistake.
11.
Good.
But doing a really good job.
Let go a little bit here.
Oh.
Let go a little bit. Yes. So kept the handbrake on too much in the transition.
And there is a mark for that, so that becomes expensive.
Yeah, so she even dropped to a 4 with one judge on that.
I like to see the judges using the full range of the marks. Good when it's good and when it's not so good. Looks very attractive coming towards us.
It's quite a narrow little horse. He's not little. He's narrow through the chest.
It's like a model.
Yeah.
Elegant.
Yeah, it is.
Long-legged.
It's a good job from Tanisha, apart from obviously having just a moment in the memory department. And I think it still puts her into first place. And it looks like she will. She's got to go higher than 64.4 to stay or go into first place.
We have a new leader, Tanisha Ryan and Prequel, on 65.176. And the spectator judging have also agreed, 67.250 with the spectators. If you
Our next competitor entering the area is Layla Williams, riding Ampersand. Ampersand is a 13-year-old black Oldenburg gelding by Ampere out of Bambine. It was bred by Regina Brand and owned and ridden today by Layla Williams, who's from Moss Vale, New South Wales.
So this horse really paints a very elegant picture with Layla.
Yes, the Ampères are quality types quite often. Well, so they seem all the ones we've seen, and we've seen quite a few here yesterday and today.
They look a little spicy. I like that. A little spicy.
Energetic characters.
But you need that for the high levels. It's just... Well, and the placement of that has gone a little wayward.
Yeah.
Maybe a little wide. But yeah, it looks like it can bend and articulate all its joints. What do you think?
I think it's full of energy, which I like. And again, there's the one that's kind of tucking its front leg behind it.
Not hanging it.
Not hanging.
Like,
and this is not uncommon now to be seen, especially amongst the Dutch type horses.
it does have that ability to adjust its tempo, doesn't it? It can get quite quick in the tempo, which can sometimes make them look a little hectic if it's not controlled in the right way. But Layla is doing a really good job on Ampersand. Third last competitor to go in this competition here today, sponsored by KJC Equestrian. So
she's got a very loose curb rein, particularly the left one. And of course it did just walk past us, so it's very evident. And of course there's no law that says you must have it tight.
But then if you don't use it, then put a snaffle on.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know.
But also you really shouldn't have an unevenness in one
The
rein.
rein, yeah. Just as an aesthetics thing also.
Yeah.
Looks like she's has she fixed it up as she's
Yeah,
gone
she's
along? Oh,
fixed
there's a
it
bit
up.
of a problem behind
yeah.
in that canter pirouette, the horse changing leads. Doesn't make the job easy to have the front horse going one way and the other going the other. But on to the next thing. Does have a very Dutch look about it, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. And I think in principle, again, we saw this horse a year ago here. And he is, within himself, I think, more settled, but he is a little hot number. And so although we've had the mistake, which is pulling the mark down, if she can...
Has a potential for a very high mark.
Yeah, he's getting a little bit worried again here. But she got through it and she gave him a pat.
And she's quite good at regrouping where she needs to. Those could just cover a little bit more ground and be a little bit more centred over the middle of the arena for a higher mark.
A little bit early into the trot. She's doing quite a bit of patting
Managing.
him and saying, come on, mate.
It's okay.
You're doing well. And this horse, being, perhaps you call it hot, the more times she can manage him in here and say, you can do the job and not get flustered herself, which is what she seems to be able to do, which is great riding.
Definitely
really,
has the potential for, look at those.
because he's worth it
Yeah.
when you see the good bits happening. Maybe a somewhat frustrating for her.
Beautiful horse.
Yeah, really nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
and she's pleased, see? That's really nice to see. She has obviously...
And,
managed him through it.
The pirouette, of course, is costly. The changed legs, a few other bits and pieces.
She looks thrilled with
She's
him.
pleased. So
That's all you can ask.
And it would seem to be what they call a personal best score.
And that's the thing is, when they come in through that gate at A there, you don't know where that horse has come from or what it's done before or whether it's its first time or whether it's its last time. You can only judge what you see in the ring.
That's it. So we have two more left in this class. And so we have a score for Layla Williams and ampersand of 64.529%, which puts her into second place behind Tanisha Ryan on Prequel, who is sitting on 65.176. Our next second to last competitor to come in is Amy Backman, riding SWS Debutante. Debutante's a 13-year-old chestnut Australian warm blood mare by Dancia out of SWS Divinity, bred by Robin Holden and owned and ridden by Amy Backman.
So Amy just entering the arena now. Our second last horse to go in this KJK Equestrian Intermediate 2, under 25. CDI class. So he's a little slow to establish the passage, and surely not 8 to 10 steps of piaffe. We need more lift in both movements of the legs and more spring in the passage. Quite positive and purposeful walk across to S here, stretching well for an extended walk. Nicely into collected canter right. There's a mark for that. So there's a little now screen is telling us that our judge at H has got some technical difficulties. Here they come. So we're not getting a very accurate mark at the moment. Quite well balanced in that canter pirouette. It's a nice, again, another nice type of horse, elegant. It's got no reason to not be able to do the job, so
Just a little bit more activity, more desire to keep the work going. And you can see it can do some sitting in the pirouette. That was better. It needs to be more supple. Yep, 7-2s, straight. And if she could keep some of that energy in some of the other movements.
And well placed.
Yeah. So nicely done. 7s all round for both lots of changes.
Transition at the marker. Got some 7s coming in for the transition.
We've got the suspension in the passage here. We still need more lift and halt, and so that's going to bring her up into maybe 4th place. She might sneak into 3rd.
One more to go.
But no, it looks like
wait and see.
yeah, it's going to be close whether she moves up into 3rd place. She's trending on just behind Madison Valenda. But the marks are a little bit slow to be finalised. And we have one more competitor, which will be Jester Helen Siriana. And so a score for Amy Backman and SWS debutante of 64.383% and 4th place currently. Our final competitor in this class, sponsored by KJK Equestrian, is Jessica Durtell riding Siriana. Siriana is an 18-year-old Bay Westphalian mare by Sir Donahall out of Bonnie, owned by Samantha Thomas and ridden by Jessica Durtell from Bolinda in Victoria.
This is another interesting horse for this class. This is Siriana, and Siriana previously ridden by Mary Hannah. But I think Jess has had the ride on this mare maybe over 12 months now.
I think you're right. I
think she was here last year.
She rode her last year.
A very stylish type of mare. Sir Donahall, another very famous sire of dressage horses.
Yeah, and Siriana's, she's a, you know, beautifully educated, very talented mare. It's an unbalanced issue going through those half passes, climbing and unsteady. Good passage. Piaffe needing more activity. So we've got lovely diagonal steps, but just not kind of keeping it going throughout the whole thing. Back to good passage. Try and keep it going a little bit more this time.
The hind legs just slow a little bit too much.
Yeah, and then you kind of creep underneath and...
Make it harder for her.
Yeah. We like them under, but always when they're too far under, that's also a balance issue. So she's going along at about 65.7%. Again, the H judge just marks just slow to come in, so possibly again that doesn't mean very much. What you're seeing on your screen, I mean. So here we go into the half pass coming up. Let's see if she gets to P to start. Yes. More like it. Into the pirouette. Keep the canter, keep the canter, keep the canter. Which she did, but it had the slowing effect. Extended canter, collect, flying change. So it got too big at the beginning, the pirouette. She did keep the canter, however.
Good ground cover in those changes. Judges agree with me. 1-8.
Yep. Yep.
And a little pat.
Little pat. Got the 11. Possibly a little late into trot at C. Can't quite see the marker, so although I think I'm sitting behind it, I'm actually not.
They agreed with you, those two of them, 6.5. We're coming to the final halt of the day for this arena.
And it looks like Jess has gone into the lead. Now we have all the marks coming through, around about 67%, 67.5 perhaps. And that will concludes. We'll give you the final result before we sign off.
So we're back again tomorrow to do it all again.
Yes, starting at 8 a.m. But as to which test, I can't even begin to think. I just know it's 8 o'clock. So see you then.
So we have a final score for Jessica Durtell, 67.794.
And a final result for this class, the CDI Under 25 Intermediate 2, sponsored by KJK Equestrian, and congratulations go to Jessica Durtell, riding Syriana with a score of 67.794%. In second place, Tanisha Ryan on Prequel with 65.176%. In third place, Layla Williams riding Ampersand on 64.529%. In fourth place, Madison Valenda riding Ronan R on 64.471%. In fifth place, Amy Backman on SWS Debutante on 64.383%. And in sixth place, Lucy Cochran on Jumanji, 63.853%. Congratulations to all those riders. Thank you to our judges for a long day of excellent judging.
Thank you to Jill Rickard.
And thank you to Christine Crawford. And we'll look forward to seeing some of you back here tomorrow, starting at 8 a.m. here in the indoor arena.